At long last we're able to conclude this Zeldathon. I can't believe it's taken me so long to finish this damn series, but here we are. And we're going to take a look at the first 3D game in the series on the Nintendo 64, The Legend of Zelda, The Ocarina of Time.
The reception for Link to the Past was pretty damn good, and the popularity for the series skyrocketed through the roof. It was hard to think that it could get any better from here, but like Mario 64, Zelda needed a 3D game. Many people consider this to be not only the best Zelda game, but the greatest game of all time. It starts off with a fairy named Navi waking Link up from a nightmare, which is inevitably going to be true, where he's standing outside Hyrule Castle in a stormy night, and as the drawbridge opens, we see Princess Zelda riding away from the castle. Immediately afterwards, we find out that she's been running from a black armored man named Ganondorf. Okay, you know what? I think we can figure out the story from here. Ganondorf's the bad guy, Link's the hero, Zelda's the damsel in distress that for some reason we have to care for even though we hardly ever see her, and they all want the Triforce because they're all a bunch of greedy asswipes. The gameplay is the same as the previous installments, so there's not really much to say except that it's now in 3D. You go through dungeons, fight bosses, and attain the prize at the end of each one. But of course you gotta search for these dungeons as well as solve optional side quests. Link now has a lock-on feature where the camera is able to follow the enemy you're targeting, and you can use Navi to give you the information on the enemy, as well as how to kill it. He's also able to sidestep, do a backflip, and do a jump attack which does a little more damage. As well as that, Link also has an automatic jump that's executed when you're running off an edge, and it works okay enough, so moving on. Similar to the last game, Link has to obtain 3 stones in order to get the Master Sword and to reach the Sacred Realm, which holds the Triforce. And the stones can only be gotten by beating the dungeons that correspond them, with one of them ending up being the equivalent of an engagement ring for a fish tribe known as the Zoras. Along the way you'll meet up with Zelda, who tells you about Ganondorf and the legend of the Sacred Realm. After getting the stones, Link finds out that the dream he had was true, big shock, and he needs to grab a musical instrument that's thrown by Zelda, which is, of course, the Ocarina of Time. The Ocarina is simply able to play songs that perform certain effects, whether it be transportation or just progressing to the next area. When you have the stones, you need to take it to the Temple of Time, the entrance to the Sacred Realm, and you need to use the Ocarina to reveal a hidden seal which holds a Master Sword. However, this time, as well as it being a separate weapon, it's also a time-traveling device that advances 7 years into the future when taken out of its pedestal. So we have the option of playing either Young Link or Adult Link. When playing as Adult Link, that means the future of Hyrule changes as well, because Ganondorf is now in control thanks to the power of the Triforce.
Oh my god. You remember the forest at the beginning of the game with all those little munchkins? What has Ganondorf done to it? It looks exactly the same. Okay, what about the village? Has this guy taken over anything?
Oh, I see. He's in control of the market. That makes it all worthwhile.
The prices on those mangoes were too high.
Anyway, when Link's an adult, it's then his job to go through more dungeons, and after defeating a boss, he awakens one of the sages and brings back their identities after it was wiped out by Ganondorf. Each of the sages will also give a medallion which holds their power. The dungeons also represent certain elements and themes, including forest, fire, water, shadow, and sand. Spirit. These in Young Link's dungeons are definitely more intense than they were in the previous games, because you mostly have to worry about solving puzzles and finding hidden treasure chests rather than just killing enemies and finding out where to go next. Though there is still a lot of that in this game. Oh god damn it, what is it with Link and Bubbles in these games? Each of the dungeons also have some gimmicks added to them. For example, the Forest Temple has you searching for 4 specific ghosts, and each of them can only be captured by performing certain tasks. And the Spirit Temple is beaten by searching for an item as a kid that you can only use as an adult in order to progress. Oh yeah, that's another thing I need to mention. If you put the Master Sword back in its place, then you'll become a kid again if you need to. Another thing that happens when you're an adult is that you'll occasionally have this guy named Sheik follow you and tell you what your destiny is, what evil and darkness is upon them, blah blah blah. But it'll teach you a transportation song, which is helpful. Items returning from Link to the Past are the hookshot, the hammer, and the empty bottles. And of course we also have our common Zelda items, like the bow and the bombs. Like the last game, I can't go through each of the items without boring you to tears, and besides, a lot of them don't make a return in any other Zelda game, so I'm not going to waste both our times. The compasses have also been given a decent upgrade. As well as showing the location of the bosses, it also tells you where treasure chests are, and that can be really useful when combined with the dungeon map. Also returning from Link to the Past are heart pieces, which, like before, increase your health when you get 4 of them. One thing I find really cool is how you're able to get a horse under the name... Is it Epona or Epona? But anyway, she definitely makes it much less of a chore to travel. The only problem I have with her is that you can't swing your sword while riding on her back, something I'm glad Twilight Princess fixes. Magic powers and abilities can be granted by visiting different fountains of the Great Fairy.
Whoa, stay away from me.
Well, while the Great Fairy looks like a scary prostitute, she's pretty badass because she's giving you all the stuff. She gives you different spells, doubles your magic, and increases your defense. And on top of that, she heals you. Lady, you're creepy, but you're awesome. Speaking of creepy, some of these villagers are just weird as hell. Now that is the most embarrassing run cycle I've ever seen. What the hell is this dude on? I have no comment. When you're not traversing through dungeons, you do also have the option of playing some mini-games that'll most likely give you an item that you may need. Most of them are okay to play, but it's always this fishing game that gives me such a hard time because these fish are so freaking stubborn. Ugh. Come on. As soon as I catch you, I'm having you for dinner. Grab the damn hook! There's also this big Poe side quest I can never seem to complete because these things move way too freaking fast, and you have to catch like 10 of them. They also need to be found in certain spots, which means you'll have to wander around aimlessly until you find them. And in the end, all you get is another empty bottle, so for me, this is a pretty redundant task. Another slightly pointless side quest is finding these gold skulltulas, where in tens you break the curse from someone and you're given a prize. There are 100 of these things for you to find, but you really only need to search for at least 50 because the rest of the prizes you're given is just a bunch of money. And on top of that, we have the Water Temple. Yeah, players of the game will know exactly what I'm talking about. The Water Temple. Where do I begin with this place? Well, first off, the constant water level changing is tedious, the level design is very memorable, which is odd because no matter how many times I replay this game, I can never seem to remember the exact layout. Third, there's a crap ton of backtracking. Fourth, you have to constantly switch between your regular boots and your iron boots, which will make you sink. And I wouldn't mind this so much if the pause menu didn't take like 3 seconds to load. And lastly, there are too many locks. Way too many locks. And trust me, you're going to be pulling your hair out when you think you search every nook and cranny but still can't seem to find that one damn small key that stops you from going to the next room. In this temple, you'll also find the Zora princess that you rescued as a kid, and seeing that she gave you the Zora stone, that means you're her fiancé. Ew.
You know, I gotta ask, if Link is gonna go through with marrying this fish princess, what do you suppose the kids would look like? Well, my guess is they would probably look something like this. But that's not the point here. The point is that the Water Temple sucks.
This is seriously one of the worst water levels I have ever played. Nothing is fun about it, and it's too freaking long. The time it took me to beat this dungeon for this review was, I kid you not, 2 hours. 2 long hours on one dungeon. This place sucks, this place sucks, this place sucks. And you know what the unfortunate thing is? This dungeon is probably the best mini-boss in the entire game. Making a welcome return from Zelda 2 is Dark Link, and good lord is he just as hard, but man does he have an awesome death screen. The bosses are definitely the highlight of the game, ranging from an incredibly easy spider to whatever the hell this thing is that plays a giant bongo. It's a fantasy game, don't question it. You even get to fight Ganondorf's surrogate mothers. I'm not joking, that's what they are. There's surrogacy in a Nintendo game. But who cares, these boss fights are awesome. In fact, even with all that said, the entire gameplay is pretty kick-ass. It's incredibly fun to solve puzzles and figure out ways to kill enemies. But there's one major problem.
Hey, listen, hello, watch out, look. Hey, hey, listen, watch out, hello. Hey, listen, look. Hey, listen, hey, listen, hey, listen.
Shut up!
Oh my god, is this character annoying! As a lot of you know, Navi is very well known for being what has got to be one of the most irritating video game characters of all time.
And why is that?
Because she never stops talking. Every time you lock on, every time she gives you a hint, every time she's in a f***ing cutscene. Burn in hell, you annoying little speck with wings. But, moving on. Something that I think is a really good idea is that a few of the dungeons can only be accessed by achieving different tasks. Like this one where you need to sneak into a fortress and rescue a number of carpenters. You can even kill the guards, which actually makes this whole aspect remind me of Metal Gear Solid. But one part I seriously detest is where you have to go underwater in a mini dungeon, and in order to get a small key, you have to collect these white rupees. Some of them aren't too much trouble, but it's these in the corners that are a pain because they're only just a hair above your head, which means you have to keep changing your boots again. And on top of that, you have to battle through a ridiculously strong current, so God help you if you miss those rupees. Ah, damn it. Get over there! You gotta be kidding me! Oh, for the love of God! So after getting all the medallions, Link meets Sheik at the Temple of Time, who is revealed to be the 7th Sage, Princess Zelda. She tells Link that Ganondorf's heart was unbalanced, I had no idea how that works, and that caused the Triforce to be split into 3. Ganondorf kept the Triforce of Power, while Zelda has Wisdom and Link has Courage, chosen by Destiny, which I'm gonna call bullshit on. After that bit of exposition, Zelda gives the stapled light arrows, which will kill Ganondorf, and idiotically exposing herself causes her to be caught by the King of Evil himself. So Zelda is captured again, what a surprise. Well, time to go get her. The rest of the 6 sages help Link get across to Ganondorf's tower, so he can climb up to the top and find the evil king's future self along with an entrapped Zelda. Ganondorf pushes Navi to the side, and we can now fight the King of Evil, who's really not that difficult, but by this point I think we saw it coming. Now this is a pretty funny glitch you can do. The normal way of fighting Ganondorf is to use the Master Sword to deflect his magic attack, but the game is actually programmed to do that when Link swings his hand, so an alternative way to beating him is to use an empty bottle. Hey Ganondorf, have some jam! So the villain is beaten, the princess is free, and with his dying breath, Ganondorf attempts to bring down the castle, so run as fast as your little elf legs can carry. Link and Zelda escape, but something seems to be making a noise under the rubble. Link goes to check it out to see that Ganondorf's still alive, and this leads to one of the coolest final boss introductions I've ever seen. Holy crap. Yeah, Ganon's back, what'd you expect? But what I love so much about this part is the atmosphere. The black clouds, the lightning strikes, the ring of fire that for some reason makes the lighting darker. It's brilliant. And the fight itself is pretty intense. You lose your Master Sword and you need to figure out a way to destroy Ganon. And how do we do that? By hitting his tail. Yeah, this huge beast can only be beaten by hitting his rear end. But anyway, eventually the Ring of Fire extinguishes and you can go get the Master Sword back. Disappointingly, you still have to attack Ganon's tail, but after hitting him enough times, Zelda will paralyze him and Link can now land one final blow. Ganon is defeated, the 6 sages banish him to the evil realm that he created, and as a thanks to Link, Zelda uses the Ocarina to bring him back to the past so he can have a chance to live his childhood. Peace is restored while the credits are rolling and the Master Sword is put back where it belongs. And without saying goodbye or even a thank you, Navi just flies away never to be seen again. Oh, you little bitch! You might be thinking from all the complaining I've been doing, I might not be a huge fan of this game. Well, actually, this is the best Zelda game I've played. As a matter of fact, it's one of my favorite games of all time. Yeah, there are problems with it, not to name a few, but I don't know, something about it just sparks with me unlike any of the other Zelda games. Maybe it's because this was the first one in the series I ever played, but it could also be the level design, the characters, the charm, who knows. Besides the water temple, a lot of the issues I mentioned are more or less nitpicks if anything, and I absolutely think you should check this game out. It's not for everybody, but even if you're not a Zelda fan, this may change your mind. And if you think the game is too easy, you can find an add-on in the GameCube port that comes with Wind Waker under the title Ocarina of Time Master Quest, where the overworld is the same, but the dungeons are in different layouts and much more difficult to complete. Or if you don't have a GameCube, then an alternative is to get the recently made remake for the 3DS, where the graphics are enhanced and little extras are added to the gameplay. Unfortunately, I have neither this game or a 3DS, and even if I did, I probably wouldn't be able to record footage very well. As for the game itself, it is kick-ass in a lot of ways, and it makes you feel incredibly smart and satisfied when you beat it. While there are 2 side quests that aren't too easy to figure out, traveling out of your way to find hidden secrets and defeating giant monsters more than makes up for it. The Legend of Zelda, The Ocarina of Time, gets a 10 out of 10, standing for a masterpiece.
So that's it with the Zelda games for now, and I really hope this review convinced you to try this one out. If you're just getting into the series, this is definitely the best one to start off with. So, not sure how else to end this. Well, The next video is going to be Top Gun for the NES, which is going to be a Kyle solo review. But hey, after that it's the 20th video, so what will I be playing to celebrate? Oh god.